Hatim,
Ali, what's happening, man?
nothing, man. It's been a long time, man.
Yeah, is it a month or more?
I think it's more than a month. Yeah.
More than a month.
And see, we have changed from Arabic to English in the last few, I don't know, months or weeks. But I think the reason here is because every episode is different from another. And the purpose of this episode is actually for the world to know about the topic that we're going to talk about today. But I have a question for you.
Yes, go ahead, shoot.
Have you ever dreamt that Oman will have someone to invent a car in this country? An invention that will come from Oman?
Honestly speaking, I was hoping for that Oman is going to be on the map in terms of producing cars, but I thought it's going to be a very long time from now, maybe in the next 20 years. I never anticipated that it's going to be this soon. But the thing that I never expected that the cars that are going to be produced from Oman are going to be futuristic. I thought because we're in the Middle East, people are more into off-road pickups and so on. So maybe the
Yeah.
first car Oman is going to produce something that would look like Abu Shanab, for example. Yeah, but honestly speaking, we went above the expectation, and today we're here to talk about that.
All right. So stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Chataway in UMMATI station. How is everybody doing? How are you, Hatim, today?
Wa alaikum salam. I'm very fine, and I'm so happy and excited that we're back on the show. It's been quite a while. We were both away and busy, and we started the series in Arabic, so it's going to be difficult today to switch back to English, but let's see how it goes.
Yeah, man, I'm losing my language now.
But I'm very happy, Ali, that we're starting the English episodes again, and with a very inspiring story
Oh, yes.
to every Omani. It makes us so proud to the achievement that we have today. And who's our star for today?
Well, our star for today is HAIDER AL-ZAABI. He's an entrepreneur and technology enthusiast. He has masters in innovation and technology management. He is a co-founder of MAYS. You know MAYS? I hope I have pronounced it right, but we'll get it from him, inshallah. It's an electric car, not Bushanab, electric car manufacturing and design company.
Ali,
Yeah.
Ali, I think we need to make it, to explain to our audience internationally what is Abu Shanab, because maybe the people in Oman or the Middle East only know what is Abu Shanab. So
Oh,
Abu Shanab it's a sort of a high-look pickup, which is very high, very powerful. It is used off-roads, and it's very fast as well. So that's Abu Shanab.
that's Abu Shanab. And just to continue, well, cars manufacturing design company building the world's first superhero cars. That's interesting, with a disruptive vision of democratizing the car industry. Wow, big word. Let us all welcome HAIDER AL-ZAABI. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. How are you? Hi, Ali and Hatem. Good to see you. And thanks for that
Alhamdulillah.
warm introduction as well.
Good to see you too, man. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you here in our show.
Thank you
Likewise.
thank you for accepting our invitation, Haider, and we're honored today. We should have had flags of Oman and things like that, because we're so excited. We're so excited to have you here on the show to talk about this very important milestone of Oman, which is the innovation of this car. But the first thing that we want to ask you, Haider, is the common thing for young people is to go and study engineering, to become a doctor, a pilot, a lawyer, and things like that. But it's very rare that we come across someone who is very much interested in innovation and goes academically as well to develop himself in innovation. and then come up something with something that we have today. So what's the story with you, Haider?
Definitely. And first of all, I like the way you started the episode by saying, yani, have you ever dreamed of having such someone from Oman to create a car? And you know, that by itself was a goal that we were driving towards, is that to try to change this
Mm.
mindset that us as Oman or us as Arabs, that we are not able to kind of be on the lead of these new innovative products. And definitely, I mean, when it comes to the car industry, today, the opportunity is huge, especially for electric cars,
Mm.
because it's such a new industry, a new field. You can say like what Elon Musk did and what Tesla did is kind of flip
Yes.
the whole organization on everyone. So you have all the big manufacturers; they kind of all started with the same starting line, with
Mm.
Tesla trying to compete and get market share. But guess what? Tesla started it, and now they have the biggest market share. But that also opens new opportunities for a lot of new startups to actually enter this industry and be able to actually put footprint there and also get some market share. And that's where we saw also the opportunity for us in Oman. And we've seen a lot of also new startups that actually entered this industry and are doing amazing right now. So, I mean, in terms of that, definitely going back to the, I mean, starting from Oman or looking at Omanis, I think us as Omanis, we have a lot of skills and capabilities. And I've personally met a lot of very inspiring Omanis. And not just that, I mean, when I traveled, I mean, different countries in the world, looked at different people, I've noticed something that we're not very different, you know. And if anything, I've actually found that some Omanis are actually smarter and even more innovative. I think with just a bit of belief or a bit of more kind of willingness, we can go far in a lot of things. And we have very good examples today, like for example, in Amani, who created laptops, Ansor,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yes.
as well, who's making also
Marsal, Marsal
Mersal.
Mobiles.
Exactly, and also recently last week I actually met this Omani guy who created this brand called Barq, and he's making all these different cables similar to anchor cables, power bank, up to the international standards as well. So you can
MashaAllah.
see all of these different examples, and the industry today with the globalization, it's possible to actually be able to create these things, and definitely be able also to compete and enter into this exciting world.
Okay, let me take you back. When did this passion of invention, in general, have started? Was it since childhood, and how did it start?
Maybe I think from school days. So I remember there was one competition that we had to kind of build this robot in school. So I had this idea of building this robot that you can actually place different items and you can just control it, and it will deliver different items. And this was maybe 20 years back or 22
Wow,
years back. So a bit long
MashaAllah.
time. But I mean, that kind of sparked the idea of just being able to create different things. And then from there, after university, I started working in the solar industry and got into a bit of robotics from there. And then also looked at how I can create a robot for people at different offices for different uses. So, for example, this robot would also replace you as a person in the office. If you're not there, it would be able to guide other people who are there.
I need one of them.
Maybe I have the
I
prototype,
need
and now
someone to replace me when I'm not at work. I can do something else.
definitely that's the main idea. Yeah, and from there, then I went
Uh,
into the car industry, and all of that past knowledge really helped me to enter this industry, along with being in the tech and apps and software kind of development industry as well.
Now, Haider, don't you think that the car industry is very competitive, and the idea of getting into the car industry uh, in the beginning is a little bit risky? Didn't you feel intimidated that, oh, okay, there's a lot of people who have been in the industry for a very long time. Maybe I should start with something else and then get into something big. But you went straight to the car industry.
Yes. So,
What happened?
so I mean, you're right there. So the car industry was very, very competitive when it came to the combustion engine. So that was an industry that is very difficult to enter. It was very much monopolized, and it was really difficult to enter as well. The complexity of actually making a combustion engine car was much more difficult. So then looking at
Yes.
electric car, actually it's very different. So in terms of making the car, it's easier. In terms of the industry, it's pretty new, and not so new that you cannot enter, but it's new enough that you can actually get your hands into with suppliers and be able to actually tap into this industry. I would say yes. I mean, it is getting more competitive now as we speak, and of course, when it gets more competitive, it also gets monopolized. So, I mean, the window for us we're looking at it's quite small. So, if we don't actually move fast now, I think in the after 5 to 10 years, it will be very difficult for new companies to enter. So, I mean, we picked. I think this is the right time to enter this industry. And when you asked why enter directly to such industry so big, so yes, in the beginning, the plan sounded very grand, and it was a very, you can say, crazy plan that people would call us. But then the vision that we had and the thought process which kept us moving forward to kind of try to change this industry really pushed us to tap into. And the more we kind of got into ourselves into this industry, the more we realized that okay, we're demystifying it more. It's becoming easier and easier by the day, and alhamdulillah, by today, like we see everything very clear and much easier than when we started as well.
So now, where did you arrive in the production? Is the car already there, or it's still prototype and you need to develop it?
So alhamdulillah, yani, so far during the last 2 years, we finished the prototype stage, and now we're entering into the production stage to try to productionize the car and to try to mass produce it, but not mass produce it in a sense where it's a huge mega factory. No, we're taking it step by step, even smaller production units. And the good thing about that as well, so along the journey, I mean, once we entered the prototype stage and then when we showcased in different parts of the world, we actually got to know and meet a lot of these industry specialists, people who've been in this industry for some time, people who established a lot of factories from A to Z, knows the ins and outs, sold over 1 million electric cars. So having all of that access, having all of that knowledge with us really made the next step now much easier. And in terms of the next steps, so we're having a lot of different routes that we're working in parallel. One is focusing on the current MAYS IE1, the sports version of the car. And second, I think, as you mentioned, Hatem, a very good point. Like in this region, you would expect a SUV model. And for
Yes.
sure, we already started working on the designs. We finished with it. And we're actually working with a plan to try to even go with the SUV or get it to market even faster than the sports car, because we saw the high demand in that specific segment, and we don't want to miss the opportunity in that as well.
When you started designing this car, Haider, was the objective the international market or the region? Because most probably the demand is going to be very high in the region if you
Mm.
do, if you produce a car that is, covering the needs of the region, like the SUV or the off-road cars and so on. But the international market, maybe the demand is totally different. And when we saw the car for the first time, we were very happy and we were very shocked at the same time
Mm.
because we didn't know what category was the car in. Was it a sedan, an SUV, a sport car, a futuristic prototype thing that will be produced in 20 years? How can you talk about the car? How can you specify it in what segment it is? Because now you just said that you're producing the sport version of the car, but to us the first version looked very sport. So
Yes.
we're very much confused yet.
Yes. So the sports car is the same car as you mentioned. That is the car considered for the sports segment. So the main
Yes,
idea started. I'll take you a bit also back when the whole plan or idea started. So me and my partner, we were when this first idea we were discussing about of actually making cars. The main idea came is that we looked around us. There was a lot of cars in the market or in the street. They look very similar. All of them, they kind of look the same. And one thing we also
yes,
noticed is that a lot of, I mean, a lot of these cars, I mean, to get a good looking, decent cars, you'd have to kind of have access to a lot of resources. But for the majority of us, we can also we can only you can say access these normal looking cars that kind of look the same to everyone else, and at the same time something we're not very proud of. So then we thought it to ourselves, like, how can we kind of create something that fits this both? So one which is affordable, and two which looks very different, very unique, and at the same time very empowering, that you feel very proud driving it, and you actually go anywhere with that strong empowerment from that car. So that's the idea that kind of led us to these futuristic designs. So I mean, the first car that we started with was the sports car, similar to how Tesla started and to other car manufacturers as well when they first enter, is that they try to focus on a smaller segment, higher margins, and then slowly kind of go towards the mass segment. And that's exactly what we're doing. So with this car, we're not looking at the very big market mass. We're looking at a bit more of a niche. And even at the beginning, we set a target of only trying to sell 100 cars. But alhamdulillah, we reached even 500 reservations. And this is mostly only from Oman. So from there, even once we went and we showcased, we also saw that there's still also very big potential in the same existing sports car. So in Oman, maybe we're not thinking too much about like futuristic designs, but still there is 500 people and more who appreciate and who actually want this car. But when we traveled abroad, like we went to Lisbon Web Summit and seeing people from all around Europe. We went to Saudi and Dubai Expo and seeing all different people trying to gauge what their views. So they were very much interested and amazed for this car, as well for the price tag that this car can provide them. Because back, I mean, most in these countries, they're very fascinated and they're very attached to these superhero concepts, sci-fi movies, Star Wars, Star Trek. So for them, this car really resembled high value, and I really wished if I had some of these cars where I can just sell directly to them, because a lot of them were really interested and wanted to buy it directly. But I just told them to wait a bit until it's ready, and then we'll definitely be able to ship it to them.
By looking at the car, I think you should not be wearing any clothes and drive that car. You should actually be wearing that astronomer's some kind of a suit. So the name is it am I pronouncing it right? MAYS, right? MAYS?
MAYS, yes.
Where did you get that name from? What was your inspiration with that name?
We took some time to try to think of a name. So we wanted a name where it's not very difficult, and at the same time a name which is not very common as well, where you can easily have it uniquely, and also something that resembles value. So for us, MAYS was derived from Mysore, and Mysore is the horse of His late Majesty that used to win all the international races and reach the first. It was always first in these races. It was one of the fastest horses and very competitive. And for us, that was a very strong symbolic, as this, you can say, MAYS trying to go to these international markets and compete with all these different brands.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I think I'm very happy to see the story behind things. You know, when you choose a name or you select a name for a particular product, and it's just a random name, it doesn't have a value, it doesn't represent anything, or even if you go to international convention and you don't have a story to tell, it becomes very, very dull. But now, you know, when people look at the name, they don't understand what it means, and then you get on stage and you talk about, you know, the very fast horse. It was very special to His Majesty. I mean, you get very emotionally attached with the car and what it represents. And you spoke about the international markets and the competition. And I think that's a brilliant idea to intrigue the curiosity of people. Now, I'm very, very, very interested to know about the details of the car, because first of all, thank you very much for producing the car in my favorite color. I love that. And my birthday is very soon, so if you wish to give me one, then I have nothing to say. But honestly speaking, this is an electric car. But can you give us a little bit of the features, the dimensions of the car, the power, and so on? Because maybe the market is too new, or
Mm,
maybe it's too early for the market to understand how electric cars do work in relation to combustion engine vehicles. So can you take us through that, please?
definitely. So first of all, as you mentioned for the color, so this is yeah, it is a unique color, and the production car will also have a version which is a carbon fiber version. So the full body is made of carbon fiber, and that kind
MashaAllah.
of also adds more value to the car, makes it light, and also a strong material for a car body. And in terms of the specs, so it's very as par with the other car sports car segment. So you have 0 to 100 in 4 seconds. You have a range of 500
MashaAllah.
kilometers, and with the good thing also about electric cars in general, that they do have a very strong acceleration and kind of torque power, because
Mm.
it's much faster to actually ignite compared to the combustion, which requires to burn the oil. So I mean, in that sense, not just that. I mean, one very strong thing about electric cars in general is that the convenience. So today we're used to having to rely on different petrol stations to kind of try to fill the car. But with electric, you have it at your home. So every night you come back home, you put your car at the charger, just like your phone. So
Yeah.
when you wake up the next day, you already have 500 kilometers of range. So
Mm.
in reality,
MashaAllah.
like with electric cars, and especially for this region, like in Oman and GCC, where most people have houses, you really don't have a strong reliance on infrastructure, like on the petrol stations. And also, a lot of people who drive electric cars here in Oman, I also ask them, like, when is the last time you've been to electric station? I mean, a petrol station? They say never. So even though some of them they do have the electric chargers, but because you have this new way of charging it at home, and then realizing, okay, it's very difficult to finish 500 kilometers in 1 day of range. And
Mm.
that's one beauty about the electric cars. And not just that, you're also saving. So almost 10 times the savings compared to fuel when you charge your car. So that
What about the electricity? Is it affordable if you charge the entire night? If you charge the car, is it affordable in terms of the bills when you come and pay?
Yes, yes. So I mean, when you compare that price, for example, if it's 500 kilometers, if you compare it with petrol, you would pay 10 times more in petrol.
Mm.
So you're affording, you're I mean, making a saving of a big amount constantly, and that by itself is also an advantage. And today, I mean, the good thing with electric cars is that the demand is so high. So I mean, that's not created by us, but that's created by all this different hype that Tesla and other electric car manufacturers have invested so much into kind of changing the mindset of people towards switching to electric. And now for us today, it's a bit easier to enter the market, since already there is strong demand just automatically by the car being electric. I mean, today
Mm.
if you want to buy a Tesla, you'd have to wait around 1 year. And not just that, I think if you're just in the waiting list, you can sell that waiting list number just for someone to buy. And if you receive the car, you can also sell the car with profit. That's how much demand there is today with electric cars in general.
Hatim,
Yes.
with your permission, can I ask him a burning question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hatim's burning question.
That's one of the technologies that I have to praise myself. So Haider, because you have invented this car, nobody's listening. Have you got any offer to work outside the country?
So in the beginning, we did, especially like after the Dubai Expo, and after going to these different. We also went to Leap in Saudi Arabia.
Uh-huh.
So we did get offers to work there, but then the idea for them. So we were trying to kind of negotiate if we could produce in Oman, and then kind of work also to access these markets, because they're also important markets for us. But then no, for them they were more interested into kind of bringing the whole manufacturing to their country, and kind of making it localized to made in their country.
Mm.
So I think as of now, since we already got a lot of interest here locally as well, so we're trying to push for it to happen here in Oman, especially that the benefit, at least we can reap the most of it. But then, I mean, for us, it's more about how can we add value to the world, all
Yeah.
countries, and to not miss this opportunity. So I mean, eventually, if we're not able to do it here, we'll try to do it in any other place, and
Yeah.
we'll just kind of push. And for us, we don't see it as that. Okay, here is better. I mean, for us, yes, here is better. It's more convenient and everything. But then, for us, the value. I mean, we're from Oman, so we're always going to be benefiting Oman, whether we're here or whether we're in another country.
True.
And having just this story of I mean, Omanis making cars and going through all the way, that I think would be also inspiring, and it's important for us as well.
Yeah. So whatever you find an opportunity, that's the business mind that we have to actually think about. So if you don't get
Yeah.
an opportunity in a place where you are in, then why not finding it outside if the benefit is much bigger?
And you know, one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I mean, you were talking also about the design. I mean, of it being unique and all of that, and you know that was done intentionally, like from day one. So before this design, we also worked on, you can say, a bit more common designs. The normal four-door sedan, like a small car, micro. We tried all these different things, but then if you're so similar to the other brands, why would someone buy from you? And we faced the same challenges in the beginning, like when it was a very normal looking car. When we went to kind of approach people, what they would think or if they would buy, you would kind of get the feel of that. Okay, the interest is not very much there because you know they can buy the same product but from another brand which has been there for quite a while. So being unique, I think it was an important step for us to take and really beneficial. I mean, a lot of the interest came because it was unique, and I think that is important today as well. I was reading about this. Um, you could say concept called purple cow. So it tells you, like, in today's very competitive market and world, things are different than before. So today it's very crowded for everyone. If you're similar, no one's going
Yeah.
to pay attention to you. So for example, imagine you're driving your car and then with your family you see this cow, and you know at the beginning it's like, okay, nice, and then you see another cow, another cow, another cow, and then it just becomes normal and repetitive. You don't even
Yeah.
notice it. But then imagine you see a purple cow.
Mm.
What's gonna happen? Like, for sure, you're gonna stop your
You're gonna
car,
stop.
you're gonna see your
Something
family,
different.
you're
Yeah.
gonna take a tour, and it's just gonna be so exciting for you. Even that when you reach your destination, you can't not tell everyone about it. So the purple cow concept is kind of tells you to focus on being so different and so exceptional in the beginning, so that you can actually enter and be able to kind of sell or differentiate yourself as well in terms of your
I'll-
what you're offering.
I like the concept of purple cow because I like both. I like purple, the color, as you see at the back, and I like cows because they taste good and they have nice
Yes.
milk. Okay,
Haider,
go ahead, Hatim.
okay, Haider, in terms of producing cars, it's a process. It's an assembly line and so on. You
Yeah.
have parts from different manufacturers, and then you assemble them together. The parts that the car is made out of, are they all from the local Omani production, or is it imported? And how does it work? I mean, and this is the first question. The second question is there a plan to have a range of these cars? So you would go to any showroom of MAYS and then select any range of car that you want. So, or is it going to be just one range of a design and then that's it?
Yes, makes sense. So definitely, yes, we will have more than one range. As I mentioned, like this is the sports, we're going to be working on the SUV, sedan, something to kind of match for everyone. And along the way, as we go, we'll try to reduce the prices to make, as we said, the vision of being affordable cars, but looking very unique, very different, and kind of empowering individuals to have access to these cars. So now, in terms of making the car, for us, we're focusing mainly in Oman, manufacturing the body, the chassis, and all of these main components. Also, utilizing local resources as well. Plastic, you have the iron, you have the aluminium. We can all locally source it from here. And of course, when it comes to the main components like the battery, the motor, this we're sourcing it from outside. But eventually, you have all these different components in the car. yes, today we might be sourcing some of the main from international suppliers, but then along the line, we hope to kind of see how we can create an industry in Oman by providing more than 700 different parts that can be made for this car, and all can be made here also in Oman for this kind of new rising industry that will be served. So, I mean, there's not much to it. I mean, there's so much parts, but then not every part is so complex. And some we can really see a good path of it here being in Oman, and us being here, we will definitely be able to support that as well in terms of what is the requirements, what is the regulations for it, and kind of try to pave a way where others can also come by and use us as a platform to test these different components. And at the same time, for us now, is the main focus is how can we get to market faster. So whatever faster methodology or faster way that we can enter, definitely that's the route that we're constantly taking and adapting to.
Have you, are you known by these companies like Tesla? Do they have they heard about MAYS?
So we worked closely with a lot of international expertise. One of them actually used to work with Tesla, and he was reporting directly to Elon Musk. So now he's also supporting us with assembling the whole factory. And we've talked with a lot of these large manufacturers as well in China, some of them valued at multi-billion. And so interestingly, for some of them, they actually did not make it through all the way. So now we're actually also talking to them and getting all these different learnings that why didn't they make it through as well, trying to kind of see how we can benefit from whatever they already have existing to kind of add value to us, because they spent so much money and resources to reach where they are. So for us, kind of trying to see how we can benefit from that. And interestingly, a lot of them, they reached out to us as well, and some we reached to them. And also recently, 2 weeks ago, someone from Japan also visited us. So he came specifically just to see MAYS. We also asked him, have you been to any other country, GCC, Dubai, Saudi? And it was fascinating. Like he came all the way to Oman to see us, MAYS. And so they represent a Japanese inventor of electric cars. So he's like a pioneer, more than 40 years experience. And that was astonishing for me that he used to make cars, electric cars, 40 years back, even before Tesla.
MashaAllah.
And very, very good kind of components and good technologies that he has, that even back then he was testing his cars along with Porsche Carrera 911 and others, and he was beating them.
Wow.
Like he was that good. And a lot of his technology has also been used by Toyota and Nissan and others. So now he's
MashaAllah.
thinking of manufacturing his cars, and he was looking at MAYS as a good kind of ground or platform to manufacture his cars with us, or collaborate, or try to see how we can enter this market as well with us. So I think that was also very useful for us.
Yeah, that itself is a great testimonial to get it from such a person.
Definitely.
Let me take you back again. How was this invention accepted in the country? Was it through, I don't know if I'm not mistaken, was it through a competition that you participated?
So you mean for the car?
Yeah.
No, not really, actually. So we just went into it as a project, and at first we were investing in it mostly, but then we also reached out to some of the local investors, and Oman Technology Fund. They came with us, supported us also along the journey, and now we're in the next stage of actually taking it even forward.
And was it easy to get into there, or to convince them?
No, it was a very interesting journey. Like, and it took a lot of different stages, and you find so much critics, and I mean, at sometimes you don't blame them, because as you started this episode when you said like you would never dream of actually someone in Oman making it.
Yeah.
So being a first definitely is sometimes difficult, because they will never be able to comprehend sometimes at this point of stage until we make it happen, and then for them to kind of see that this is possible, and then that might change things for others. But I remember in the beginning when we had everything just on paper. So imagine how that looks or sounds when we enter to some of these funds with just a paper and a plan of making this car. And it wasn't that, I mean, of a huge amount that we were asking. It was very small amounts to just kind of start the first steps. But they would never believe that we can make even a prototype, or even make a car, or even make anything. And some of them were very harsh, but I wouldn't blame sometimes. And I think for us, that kind of kept it as a stronger responsibility to try to make this happen in order that we can change things and make it easier for the others as well.
Haider, are we looking into bulk sales? I mean,
You mean like batch production?
quantity-wise, or are we more interested in uniqueness that this car is only for specific?
So yeah,
Yeah,
so
I mean, are we looking?
number of production of cars, you mean?
Yes.
So definitely the plan is to go towards mass producing these cars, whether it's this or the SUV, and ideally more towards the SUV. But for me, honestly, the first main goal is to actually try to establish even 50 cars or 100 cars per year at the beginning, and just to kind of go through that first stage and kind of prove that this is possible, and then the rest is easy. So even this is what we're saying also to some of the investors, that we're kind of going through it as a very low risk right now. So we have these 500 reservations, so we're telling them, let's start with only 100, because I mean, when you increase production or increase the number of produced cars, automatically the cost increase. So we're trying to reduce the cost to a very minimal, where you're still profitable, but then it's just enough for you to enter and kind of get first being able to establish a car that by itself will increase the value for the investors, but not just that, being able to actually deliver these cars. And then if they feel safe, it's just a matter of you can increase the fund and then just increase production and demand. You can even get it beforehand. So even that, and we always say, like, we don't want to kind of say that we know everything. So we got experts who've already done it before, A to Z, establish factories, get all the suppliers, do it and sell the car and make sure everything is fine. So having all of that available here on the table, I think that kind of makes it very possible and very kind of easy to take a step. And alhamdulillah, yani, we got interest from a lot of famous known companies and manufacturing companies who are interested in actually supporting us in this establishment of the factory.
Now, Haider, what about after sale services? How
Yes.
do people maintain this car? Because manufacturing the car, designing the car, and so on is a chapter. And then you have, after selling the car, people coming back to you, they want maintenance. And maybe if you can take us through the idea of maintaining an electrical car. I think it's totally different than the combustion engine car, where you don't need to do the service on a regular basis and so on. So what do you need after selling the car?
So I mean, as you rightfully mentioned, I mean, yes, with the electric cars, it's actually a beauty, since there is not so much reliance on the maintenance aspect. So even for the consumer, that's kind of more convenient, that they only have to check the car once a year, and just it's very minimal kind of work required to do that service. And from our side, we've also tried to kind of make it easier for us and for the consumer by not establishing all these different, you can say, service centers, but then just focusing on centralizing it with us. And for the consumer, he doesn't have to worry about bringing the car. So whenever his maintenance is due, we will come all the way to him, collect the car, give him a car replaced, and within one day we give him back the car. So for us, it's easier to actually pick up the car and deliver it to him than just having all this. And for the consumer, it even works out better. And we do provide up to 10 years warranty package with the cars that we will be selling as well.
Haider, when it comes to the car, what are some of the challenges that you will be facing, or you might be facing at the moment with the consumers? So, for example, if I would buy the car, I would be thinking about spare parts. I would be thinking about replacing the tires. I would be thinking about, if I can't afford to repair the car with the manufacturer, I can't take it to معبيلة صناعية. So all of these challenges, they might be realistic to people who have not experienced an electrical car.
Yeah.
So tell us about this, Haider.
So as yeah, you rightfully mentioned. So currently, it will all be within us. So for the spare parts, for the servicing, and yes, that might be something new, but I think that's where the world is kind of heading now, especially even with the Tesla and all these new electric cars. So even if you like, for example, in Oman, people who drive Tesla, so for all the services and for any spare part, they would have to take it to the official dealership in Dubai for this region, and that's kind of the only way currently because of it's such a new industry. There is no kind of industry experts yet or parts available in the aftermarket or in the other service centers. But I think as we progress more towards this industry and in the coming years, definitely I think we'll be seeing more in Ma'bela Sanaiya or in Wadi Kabir, where you'll find maybe garages specialized in electric cars. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Inshallah, inshallah. I saw a video of you a few days back. You were communicating with the car. I think so. It has a technology like Siri that we have on the phone.
Yeah.
Now, is there a plan to have a self-driven car? Is that part of the plan?
Yes. So, I mean, as part of the technologies that we're working on, we're trying to also constantly always not just copy what the other manufacturers have, or, I mean, that's expected, when you buy a new car, you would expect that you'd have all these kind of infotainment, all of these technologies available.
Latest features.
Exactly, and that's kind of doable and it's easy. Alhamdulillah, all is available. But we're trying to push it even forward, where we present new ideas or new kind of use cases. Or me working in the past in the robotics kind of helped me as well to develop some of these and to present them. And I think you saw that video. So I mean. Also going back to the superhero concept, like as a superhero, you have this car, like Iron Man has Jarvis or Batman has AI or his assistant. So you'd have the same with MAYS as well. So you'd be driving your car, and then, for example, you want to talk to someone, you're feeling stressed, you'll have that car talking to you. It will kind of help you to de-stress. It will measure your face.
Wow.
Also see if you're not happy or if you're stressed. It will also try to
Wow.
play certain music or sound to calm you down. And also we're trying to feed it as well with like psychology industry, you could say use cases to actually lower your stress and not just make
You'll make some people jealous now. Wives will be complaining about cars. So I don't want you to drive this car anymore.
But
you're spending more time in the car than spending it at home. You're gonna get us in trouble.
As human beings, we really need these things in our life. Sometimes you find these stressful or hard days, and you have no one to talk to, or you're not comfortable to talk to someone maybe beside you or anyone.
Yeah.
So I mean, having these technology would really kind of help you actually and empower you even further to kind of not just go from A to B, but when you reach B, you're more empowered and you're not stressed anymore. And I think now, with technology being able to do that, I think that will be a great added value that we can bring to people as well.
I think that would be the reason why I would buy the car.
Yes.
and stop disturbing Hatim. See, every time I'm down, I call this guy. So I might stop doing that. And maybe another invention that you can add to it, make it that we say barma'i in Arabic, so it can even turn into a bot. Especially if there are people who enjoy driving on the floods and,
that would be nice.
and get themselves stuck. Maybe that will help them.
Definitely. And one interesting also about the electric car industry is that today, we talked about the servicing of the cars. So with the manufacturers or with the combustion engine, I mean, that was a big revenue model for them, which is the after sales service and the spare parts. That's where they make a lot of their money. But with electric cars, since that is kind of gone, so now they're focusing more on technology where it's going to be subscription based, similar to these apps where for you to activate some features, you would have to pay monthly. And it's opening a whole new industry, a new market where also a lot of the people in the startup industry or people in the technology industry, they can come up with different ideas how they can integrate or fit within the car industry as well.
We got a question from all the way from New Zealand, from Kiwi Muslim here. He's asking, how secure is the car like? So, because it's connected to the cloud, can someone hack the system?
Yes. So I think that's a good point. So also, as per the regulation, we are compliant to introduce or have a lot of these cyber defenses within the car. So we have to make it very safe to use and not hackable. And I think recently we've been seeing also with Teslas, a lot of people are hacking them, but they're not hacking the system. They're just hacking because you open it with the chip using the card. So they're just hacking that aspect, and then they're unlocking the car. But when it comes to the systems, it will all be closed loop systems. You will not be able to hack or kind of benefit or utilize any of the information. It will be very sensitive and very secured in that sense as well.
Hatim, you know that when you upgrade the car, you take it to the workshop. But for these cars, I think you automatically upgrade, right? Online,
Yes.
while you're driving.
It's online, yes.
It's like you upgrading your phone or laptop. That's how easy it is.
Definitely. And I mean, now currently
Interesting.
because we're trying to kind of speed time to market as well and speed the transition to electric cars. So one thing we've been working on is also the retrofitting of existing petrol cars to electric cars. We already have a prototype done, and inshallah, we're engaging with a lot of these logistic companies and also trying to make ones which is for individuals, like you mentioned, the pickup trucks or the other ones. So the current petrol, we converted to electric fully.
Is it possible?
Yeah, we've already done it before. It works, and we're just going to commercialization of it now, and that will be even faster than the production part as well.
Interesting.
And the good thing about that, I mean, one element is we're not just focusing on actually switching to electric, but also the technology part. So along with it, it comes with the main screen. You can with all the updates and all these software technologies.
So no one have done that. You're the only one who started it, right?
Around the world, there are some, but still, I think not very commercial. So
why I'm asking that? You might need to patent. Is it patented?
I mean, I'm not sure if we can patent something like that, but I think that's something worth going through. I think that's a good point. So we did patent some of our technologies, and I think this is a good idea. I'm not sure if we can patent it, but that would be useful. I mean, if we can kind of get that.
Yeah.
And the only thing with patents, I mean, the challenge is that you would have to patent in every country, and kind of that requires cost and
a lot of time.
for someone who wants to copy you. I think changing 15% of whatever you have, he's eligible. But I mean, it's definitely adds value to patent things, and then we do believe in that as well.
Haider, there's something that I don't seem to understand is the function of the electric cars, which makes them so fast. Because I've seen so many drag races, and I see this tiny little Tesla competing with the big dogs like McLaren and GTR and so on. And it's like a walk in the park. The Tesla just, poof, it passes them. I can't seem to understand how it works. What makes an electric car faster than the normal combustion engine car?
So electricity, that's the main answer. So I mean, the time where you ignite or you kind of press on the accelerator, the time where the electricity kind of passes by and pushes that is faster than
the
combustion engine process, where it has to kind of fire the oil and kind of get the whole thing heated until. So that comparison, when it comes to electric, it is faster by default. And not just that, also having the design of the electric cars where you have all the batteries in the central, that creates a very strong center of gravity for the car, making it stable and, I mean, a better acceleration version of it, having all the engine or motor in the front or in just the back, where it kind of makes it a bit lags in terms of acceleration.
So the electrical car is much lighter than the regular car. Does it make it safer as well?
I mean, not necessarily, but I mean, just because the batteries are spread in the bottom of the car, that gives it that kind of center of gravity, making it more stable and has that full kind of electric power, especially if it's all-wheel going forward.
So you don't have the function, the moving functions, the gears and all these things in an electrical car?
Definitely, it's faster when the whole connection between the battery and the motor and with the accelerator and pedal compared to the combustion engine, where the process is just longer as well.
What about the environment, emissions, and so on? Why should people be encouraged to move to electrical cars? What is the impact on the environment?
So I mean, definitely that's a very important topic, and a lot of the people buying electric cars today are very much concerned. And one big reason is for the environment. So you have a car which has zero emissions. Not just that it's better for the environment, but also it's more pleasant, where you're not getting all of that different fumes and smell and kind of noise that comes with the combustion engine. And I mean, for us, it was also important to look at the environmental aspect, look at the different ESG requirements. Today, that's a very you can say trendy requirement or topic that by a lot of new companies or even investors, they look at that. So not just the process of or not just the product being environment friendly, but also the process that goes into place when making this product. So every process or every step, you look at the environmental aspect of it and the carbon emission aspect of it, and what are you doing to try to reduce that as well. And it's all towards one, you can say, global common goal of reaching net zero.
Got someone here who said recycling battery is a nightmare. It causes more environmental issue. What's your thought about
Definitely,
that?
yes. So, I mean, one big challenge now today is that all these different batteries, once they kind of expire, and then you have to get rid of them, they're very harmful for the environment, the lithium ion aspect. So, how can you recycle them in a sense, in a manner where you're benefiting at the same time you're also not damaging to the environment? So, there are some recycling companies today that specialize in doing that. But yeah, I mean, definitely that kind of adds something to the process as well of us trying to consider it as well.
What's the lifespan of an electrical car? So you can have it for how long?
So ideally 25 years, but then you're looking at after 10 years, the battery will start to decline day by day or year by year, you could say, the efficiency of the battery as well.
So
Also,
replacing the battery will make it like as brand new?
Yes.
Or there are other aspects that you should look into?
Mainly it's the battery.
and
that
you
is
don't
the
you don't
main-
have to change the battery every year like we do for our cars.
No. For this, it would take a long time for it to stop working, but I think for the for especially for our weathers, you might find that the efficiency will kind of decrease faster compared to others.
Yeah.
That's why we're also having all these different cooling systems just fitted for specifically for our weathers. So you have these are also important components that you have to include when producing for such hot weathers here in Oman or in the GCC.
You just mentioned the country, and I got a question about solar energy. Is there any way that you can add solar energy so you don't have to charge at home? You can automatically charge the car?
So we've seen some applications of that, but because of the, I mean, the space that you require for the solar. So I mean, a very small system might not be enough to give enough power to charge your car, but definitely it can help in terms of reducing the usage of the normal electricity that you would require, and also reduce the bill.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Haider, do you see the day that maybe in Oman or in the region you'd have 50% of the cars on the road electrical cars? Do you see that coming soon?
Definitely. I mean, even if we don't want to see it, but I mean, that's where the world is heading. So, I mean, in a lot of countries, they've put it even up to 2030, where there will be no combustion engine cars, only electric. I think Europe, UK, you have all these. And then not just that, even the manufacturers of all these major car brands, they're stopping to produce the combustion engine. They're switching fully electric. So whether we like it or not, I think we're headed there. I mean, all the way. We're not going to be able to buy I think new cars that is combustion engine.
And with the artificial intelligence that the car would have, you think that would reduce the accidents?
Definitely, and I think you mentioned as well for the autonomous driving. So currently we're taking already solutions which are already developed off the shelf for kind of speeding our entry towards that, and then developing on top of that. So in terms of going fully autonomous, we're not doing it that right now, but it's definitely in our plan to move towards that. And I think towards the next couple of years, regulations I think will be a bit more clear also in terms of allowing autonomous full driving, because currently it's not allowed in all countries, and until this technology is proven to be very safe, and as you mentioned, I think the cybersecurity is not hackable, and all of these elements, once they're in place, I think there will be a global kind of shift or movement towards autonomous driving. And yes, they will be safer than humans driving these cars, because you can imagine a world where in the street all the cars are talking to each other and they're
Yeah.
just automatic. They're better than than humans.
Than us.
I mean, we still we
Haider,
can talk to the cars in front of us and behind us. So I mean that doesn't help.
Haider, I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna talk on behalf of the young people who like or who love motor racing and fast cars. And as your first production is uh, sort of a sports version that is very fast, there are two elements that are important for young people: the G-force and the sound of the engine.
Yeah.
And okay, the G-force is there in the electrical car, but the sound is almost eliminated. So if you look at the American muscle cars, they are very famous because of the sound they produce, and it
Yeah.
gives you the adrenaline rush in you for the young people. But what happens to the electrical cars?
So I mean, we
Have you
have
thought of this?
yes, yes. So I mean,
Maybe have small Bose speakers inside the car to give you the effect.
so we have all these different artificial sounds, and I think you can see some American muscle cars are coming out now, electric, and they're having
Yes.
this artificial sound, and it's the same direction we're moving. Like it's going to be an artificial sound space, similar to space kind of spaceship sounds. It's kind of cool. I think the trend will go towards that. So then it will become the opposite, where if you hear the kind of old engine or combustion engine sound, and then you hear the space, so that would be considered like, oh, that's very old and not cool, and everyone would be kind of more.
So I'm not gonna hear the sound of my neighbor's Mustang Shelby every night. Well, every single night he goes out at 12, he starts the car, and the whole neighborhood can hear the car. Yeah, so now you can sneak out without anybody hearing the sound of the
Yes.
engine.
It'll be more pleasant, and I think also for the drivers they will appreciate it. It's a cooler sound.
Haider, when it comes to updates in cars, young people, they're into updating the cars, increasing the power, changing the dimensions of the car, custom, accessories for the cars. Have you thought of that? Because having a car that looks like every other car in this on the road is not so interesting for the young people. They want uniqueness. So getting into something that is custom.
I think this is unique enough. I don't know how
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah, no. This is unique, Ali. This is unique now. But if it's flooding the market, everybody has this car. Then it's
Yeah.
gonna be like a regular
yeah.
car. So you need something
Distinguish
unique
between.
for
Yes.
distinguish yourself. Yes.
I mean, definitely. That's always something that we considered, even like a metal plate in the car with your name, illuminated lights, different accessories. We're also partnering with this brand from Holland. They're specialized in these different bags, and now we have this unique MAYS looking bag, which is made from metal and very unique. And it's good to kind of also see how we're also trying to grow together with these brands. So even this, I mean, the Dutch brand, they're a startup as well, but they've been featured like in these top movies, for example, Star Trek and some Netflix TV shows as well. And they're very much a global brand, but they're so small in terms of where they are today and what they're doing. And they are looking to kind of expand. So, I mean, also having these different partnerships together and where we can scale together, benefit from each other as well, and it's quite interesting to see.
I think
Because
maybe
one-
next James Bond should use your car, man.
Definitely, I mean, our partners, they're already in Hollywood and Netflix, and they're kind of trying to see where we can fit in with some of their partners as well in these movies. So we might actually expect to see MAYS in any Star Trek movie or something
Oh,
recently.
inshallah.
We've been approached by a company in Dubai when we went
Mhm.
to STEP conference who are working actually in Hollywood. They're from Vegas, working with Marvel movies and some of the Avengers as well. So they were interested to actually try to get May's car in one of these Marvel movies as well. So definitely, I mean, the
Wow.
space is there and it can happen. And yeah, one thing I wanted to reflect as well in terms of creating a brand or a product. So one thing, I mean, creating a product or a brand and that, but then another important thing is how you can scale it to an
Yeah.
international level. That's a whole different, you could say, game or playground. And I think that's definitely for us in the next phase. But we are considering it and thinking about it from now constantly because I've seen countless of brands who are really good, profitable. They're making these brands, but they couldn't kind of go to that next stage of being globally present. And I
Mm.
think that's kind of important as well to consider how we can also tap into that and learn from that as well.
Haider, how does someone buy this car now here? If a customer is interested in Oman or in the Middle East, how do they go about buying this car? And is it
So
in an affordable range?
definitely. So I mean, the most affordable version of the car is the NFT.
Mhm.
So you can just buy the NFT. We have it in OpenSea. But no, in terms of if you're interested in the car, you can have your reservation at our website, drivemace.com.
Drivemace.com.
And from there, we would definitely ship the car for you once it's ready. And going
How
forward,
long does it take, Haider? If someone orders the car, how long does it take to
so we're
manufacture and get
looking
the car?
1 year to 1 year and a half from now.
Enough time for you to save some money, Hatem. Someone is asking, can we buy in New Zealand? See, you got a customer now from New Zealand.
No, definitely, yes. So I mean, the as per the regulations that we're doing the car, it is fit for GCC as well as Europe standards. So even for countries like outside of Europe, New Zealand, it is possible to also export and sell to there as well.
And if you sell in the UK, then you have to change the steering wheel to the other side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another market, yeah.
I think we're running out of time. Hatem, I don't know if you have more questions to ask.
I just have one last question
Yeah.
when it comes to this. We heard of the launching of the car or the prototype, and then we don't seem to have any ad or commercials or advertisements about the car locally.
Mm.
I'm talking about locally.
Yeah.
Uh, is that done intentionally, or is it too soon to
So
do?
yes, so I mean, it's done intentionally because as we're having a lot of new features or new kind of products, once we have
Yeah.
something exciting, and soon, inshallah, yani, we're going to be promoting something, and so definitely stay tuned in our pages and to get all the updates. But we what we're trying to hope, I mean, in our next kind of advertisement, is to have something that we can, or a car, I mean, that we can get to market fast. And we've seen people are very eager, and we don't like keeping them waiting. And that's the plan. That's where we're working very hard now in the you can say wara al kawalis, and a lot of exciting things are happening. And inshallah, soon you'll be able to kind of get your hands directly into this industry. And I've talked about, I think I've touched upon a bit of some cool things that we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely, hopefully, within the next 6 months, I think we should be able to kind of give the customers first-hand experience in this industry. And we're trying to actually accelerate that as well.
Is there an open vacancy now? Do you hire people for jobs?
Inshallah, wallah, yani soon. It's very job
Hi,
as well.
Haider, listen, Haider. Once you're successful and you have the car all around the world, you have the market, please
Yes.
do have a special version of Bushanab made in Oman.
Oh,
Please. That's a request. Yeah,
Definitely.
we need one production of Abu Shanab only for Oman, and we'll be so happy. As Omanis, we're gonna kiss your head.
It's لا لا it's good that we're talking about it because يعني we are actually working on it as we speak يعني subhanallah it's
Oh,
similar but yeah so I think that definitely should happen soon inshallah.
you wanna book it?
Inshallah.
You wanna book it, Hatim?
That would be very
Uh,
exciting. Yeah, yeah.
I'm definitely gonna get one, inshallah. If
Inshallah.
you do Abu Shanab, then I'm a big fan.
Definitely it will be a very useful product as well yeah inshallah.
Inshallah.
Inshallah,
Inshallah.
inshallah. I think I have a last question. Was there a time when you gave up and said, I'm talking about the beginning, and said, that's it, I can't do it. Let me just stick to the day job. I mean, what kept you going? That was the question.
I think a couple of things. One thing is having great partners with you along this journey. So alhamdulillah, yani, with such great partners, they're very positive. They've always been kind of very positive along this journey. And whenever one of us kind of feels like down or he wants to kind of go up, the other kind of picks him up. But then that's one. But then also something important is also always remembering why we're doing this and why is it so important. So it's not just about us, but it's also about doing something for the nation and doing something for the world. And I think even, I mean, when we talk about Islam, even, I mean, I truly believe that God, created us in this earth to not just kind of eat, drink, and sleep,
Yes.
but then to
Yes.
also kind of build or provide something for future generations and keeping it,
Yes.
you can like an added value for humanity. And since God loves humans so much, so I mean, He really appreciates when He sees other humans providing or adding value to other humans in all different sectors and fields. And I think having such, you can say, value or reasoning of why we're doing this in the first place. I mean, not just trying to kind of change the mindset here in Oman, but also providing value for the world. That pushes us even further, and that keeps us always motivated and inspired to go forward, regardless.
You have inspired us, Haider, in this session. And I think you have inspired many people who have dreams that you just carry on and don't stop. Sky's the limit. And try to think of the new technologies that's happening, because if we start looking at the backward, I'm going to start open my own shop, supermarket, and all this. This is all old style. We have to go with the trend now, I think, in order
Yes.
to achieve and succeed in life. So
Definitely.
yeah.
Well done, Haider. Thank you very much. And it is one of the days that we are very, very honored to be Omanis
Yes.
when we have someone like you who is, letting us see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that dreams can be possible with hard work and determination. So keep up the good work and make us proud,
Thank you
inshallah.
to both of you as well, mashallah, and you also for all this hard work that you guys been doing. I was speaking to Ali last time, mashallah, yani, it's been a great channel that you guys been pushing throughout the years, and I think it's kind of also inspiring a lot of people as well, with sharing different good stories here as well.
Thank you very
Jazakallah
much.
khair. Take care of yourself, and looking forward to drive one of your babies, inshallah, soon.
Inshallah.
Inshallah soon. Thank you.
Inshallah, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Assalam.
Oh, I'm very happy today. I'm very, very happy, and I'm very inspired. Every time I see a young man who has aspirations and ideas and works so hard and does something with their life, it's just a happy day. And I wish a lot of the young people out there, they shouldn't give up. I'm sure we see Haider today smiling and happy,
Yeah.
and he has achieved a huge milestone. But I'm sure behind the scenes, he's gone through a lot of difficulties and challenges and, ups and downs. But he didn't give up. He continued until he materialized his goal. And today we are reaping the fruit as a nation. And I loved the idea at the end when he said that we haven't been created just to be
Enjoy.
idle,
Yes.
to live a life that is a life of a routine. We are created to construct, to serve, to work towards goodness and so on. And the sky isn't the limit, inshallah.
I think such episodes are a wake-up call alarm for all of us. I mean, starting from us and then to the people who are watching, because we don't want to just wake up in the morning with the same routine and then go back to sleep and you have not accomplished anything in your life. I think you have to make a change. You have to do something about it. And there's something that I read about The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. He has written that, you know, you do your work. If you have a day job, you do your work. After you finish from work, don't just go and relax and sleep. That is the time when you should work for your future, for your career. So
Yes, indeed.
I think, yeah, it's a good wake-up call. And inshallah, more wake-up call alarms will be coming from now on in Arabic and English. For that reason, what I want you to do is please like and share. And if you have not subscribed, please do subscribe and hit that indication button so you can get all the notifications from Ummati Station and get inspired by our neighbors, by our guests, by that neighbor thing stuck in my mind when you talked about the Mustang. So
You're getting old, man. Salam alaikum.
عليكم السلام حياك الله.